On the table today at Squirrel Stampede, we have the amazing Transformers the Movie Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus on the table, one of my favorites, and the squirrels are filling him up with acorns. They like the transport ability of Ultra Magnus, usually an Autobot vehicle hauler. In this case, the squirrels fill it up with acorns. They're giant golden acorns. They kind of do that thing. But we've got an amazing studio series. One of my favorite characters, aside from Optimus Prime, is Ultra Magnus. He's just cool. He's the temp holder of the Matrix of Leadership, I like to call him, and just an all-around really cool Transformer. So we begin an amazing look at this bot. Check it out with me as we fill up the stages of transformation and discover lots about Ultra Magnus. And acorn hauling. Probably some acorn hauling.
Squirrel Stampede!
Enormous studio series box. This one is in, what is the height of this thing? We've got 11 by 13, yeah, huge box. Fantastic movie cover art. That's the thing with Ultra Magnus, he just looks so cool, so cool. On the back there, big screen inspired, and works with deluxe class figures for load up in back trailer. Plus a fancy backdrop. 43 steps again is going to take this guy to transform. Well, let's see what we can find inside this great looking box. There we go, out of pack. Look at the scale of this one. A massive 9-10 inches tall up to those arm stalks. That's the size of an Ultra Magnus I've been looking for. We've got a fancy Studio Series movie backdrop there, Autobot City Escape. I haven't been the biggest fan of these backdrops though, they take up a little extra space, so I'll just remove for now. And there is Slim. Something seems to be wrong with his head, he looks really narrow. Ultra Magnus comes packed with more accessories I've seen from a Transformer in a long time. Got rocket tips, we've got weaponry, we've got blast marks. A wide assortment of things to add on here. Oh, there we go. Little tiny treehouse squirrel has found Ultra Magnus's ear antenna thingies. That should make him look a little bit better. How do we get these on? He's so large, it's hard to get him in focus. Let's get one of these antenna on here. Rotate, please. And the other one, and these even come off, so I'm a little worried about these already. There we go, looking way more like Ultra Magnus should. Anything else we need to accessorize here? Probably those side cannons. Those are pretty classic, so let's place those on either side arm. And of course, add the red rocket tips to those. These stand out so nicely. And since we're arming him up, let's add on his blasters to his hands. And I think we've got him accessorized up. Very impressive here. One of the better Ultra Magnuses I've really ever seen. This one feels highly animated, maybe somewhat exaggerated on his legs, but I like a good heavy footprint. And I guess the only Magnus I could compare with today would be a Siege Luigi. Is that a Transformers Siege? Or somewhere in that series. Maybe a remake on a Optimus Prime, but still. Turned out pretty unique on this one. I'll keep this one probably. And this one. Articulation is probably going to be something. Head rotation again, although I'm very worried about these antennae really popping out quite a bit. Great accordion shoulders. I'm a little worried about this area in here breaking, especially the way these hinge over and close them up. It feels looking weak. I don't know, I haven't popped him yet to know for sure, but I feel like we can like pull him in and out and really play a good tune. But we have shoulder rotation up here, highly clickable, and I believe we can reach out and hinge there. Elbow joint in there pretty tight, and wrist rotation kind of encumbered by those big arm cuffs of his. Central rotation maybe? Yeah, we got a center point there to rotate about. Hips that can sit down, kick out, knees that can bend. A lot of clicking, ratcheting going on. And, well, okay, we've got a little bit of an ankle movement there. They're just giant footprint, which I love. I love the giant footprint. Makes it so easy to stand. So there's plenty of points for good positioning and movement, and I believe you can even blow them apart into pieces, which I'll just hold off on that. But that's pretty movie accurate. I like that part. And we have a ton of these little blaster accessories, and I think they all like sandwich in together. Like you can take one and just continue to cascade them into larger fire blasts. I think you could build one massive super one. I think that's kind of like a half one. And then we should be able to place them in a multitude of placements like on his weaponry blasters, and I think maybe removing the little red tips there Probably another couple interesting places to place them. You don't see that very often, so it's really cool they added those in. And of course, one more fancy detail, the matrix of leadership, or the temporary position, the temp matrix of leadership. How do we get in there? We're gonna lift up this front blue support there. Things are going to spring open. There's the matrix. How rare indeed to see anyone else with it other than Prime, but Magnus is the temp. What do we got? Now I just figure out how to hold it. Is it this direction or does it go that way? I can't tell. But it's got a nice little clear center part that lights up through light in the day. And close the spring at the doors down. So very well fun done with Ultra Magnus. I love the cartoon look of this one. And the massive size. And the colors. Gotta love the colors of red, white, and blue on Magnus. It's everything I would like to have in a Magnus figure. So finally, after all these years, we've got just a solid Magnus figure out there with the 86 movie line. Keep an eye out if this is the one you're looking for. Still though, honorable mentions for Siege Luigi back here. Oh, really quick too, what's the scale difference between what we just saw with Armada Universe Prime? We checked that out earlier in the year. Wow, he's huge. Some of the big bots that we've been able to see this year have been a lot of fun. I know Classics Armada Prime was such a big hit this fall. And he's still exerting his primeness over Ultra Magnus by being a few inches taller. But it was interesting to see how much the plastic would compare up with these two. Both being about similar prices, both being about similar box sizes. A little more bot for the buck with Armada Optimus Prime. So, oh Transformer, we've got a lot of stages to tinker around with to figure out how we can get this one into robot mode. Alright, so here we go. We have a multitude of stages to get Ultra Magnus from robot to vehicle. 43 steps. Engage this robot to vehicle. Seems high, especially from back in the day when we would just take an Optimus Prime, transform his cab, and then add a bunch of chunks to him. But I suppose something as detailed as this is going to need a few stages, right? And we also should remove these arm cannon, missile flyers. They're going to be in the way, most likely. Lots of removing of accessories with Magnus usually. And so for step one, let's get him standing up all straight like a lineup would be after a crazy night of transforming at the capital city of Cybertron. Capital City. We begin our story by rotating to the back. And step one, unhinging his arm panels. I always like the bony skeletal structure of Magnus in there. It looks fun. Step two, rotate back to front, flipping up these arm panels. Step three, we hinge them down. Gotta work on those narrow arms, Magnus, now. Step four, rotate back around and close back up those arm cuffs, making sure those hands of his are tucked up inside. And step five, we'll rotate back around to the front. Kind of reminiscent to Decepticon Frenzy right now. Crash, 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 crash. Don't smash my white table, it's almost destroyed, Magnus. Step 5, we are going to open up these red clips up top, which worry me the most. I really hope these clips are gonna hold for the long run. They feel kind of weakened, as there is a lot of structure tied up by these. I don't know if they're thick enough, so a little worried on those points. I hope they hold over time. Step 6, Magnus, look up at the ceiling. Check on my lights, see if they're doing okay. And 7, we're going to lift up his full front chest panel, hopefully. And I believe it doesn't really indicate, to make this easier, we're going to hinge out these side panels just a little bit. I think, in fact, that unlocks it. So it may have missed that step. Now we can flip up his full front chest. Now for steps 8, 9, and 10, we are going to begin to unhinge these accordion arms. I'm amazed how much fold up we've got in here. Hinging them out a little bit squeaky, but we're okay. Look how much reach it's gonna give us. Oh my, Magnus. Now he's really looking like Frenzy. Please be nice to my table. Good Autobot assemblage underneath. So I guess we keep folding until they're nice and straight. And I think we may want to keep these panels nice and straightforward still. They kind of skipped that part on me. Over to the back side now. In step 11, this back panel should flip up. And step 12, we continue to bracket back this upper flange down like so. Then rotate back around to the front. Did I mention how much I love the colors on this one? Red, white, and blue just glow on my table. Step 13, we are going to lift up these antennas so Magnus can get both AM and FM on his car stereo. Back in '86, AM and FM, pretty necessary for a long rollout. Step 14, we need to be faced forward, but we can't see it, so we have to turn to the side here. There's these side panels that pull on out. Oh, I can see the cab now of his vehicle mode starting to appear. So we're kind of nearing a halfway point, maybe. At least halfway on one side of instructions. Step 15's a doozy. A lot of this back work is going to hinge on out. This feels like the stage of transformation where everything just goes all over, but let's pull out the cab here on step 16. And step 17, pull that windscreen down even more. Uh-oh, Magnus. Hot Rod's here. Careful with your footing. You do not want to fall in your transformation. Hot Rod, please. Hot Rod, we're really trying to work on Magnus. No. Magnus gets really tippy right about at this stage. Hot Rod, no. Oh! Oh, no. Hot Rod, look what you did to Magnus. Oh, no. Always messing things up, Hot Rod is. Okay, so let's see here. Step 18, we are positioning these back panels so that they kind of angle up on out. And step 19, we've got to fold out some wheels underneath the cabin here. Steps 20 and 21, we're going to box in the cabin of the truck. So it does get a little squirrely in here. I would recommend first remove the squirrel. Make sure the roof of the cab is hinged down and locked tight to the back wall. That way you can flip in these side red flanges. That then gives you the room to finally start closing up the cab correctly. Probably the trickiest part so far in the transformation. Just make sure the roof of the cab locks down. There's a couple pins you'll see, and then you can lock things down, get those side walls in, and it will be nice and tight and straight. And maybe, just maybe, you can get another squirrel inside the cab afterwards. Well, now that's a weird looking transformer, almost like that new Frankenstein's monster transformer coming soon. We got a little more work to do. So let's orient for step 22 like so, get this cab up there, and I believe we are ready to continue on to stage 23. Flip these wheels out. And the hitch point here can be removed. I wonder if that would have been easier to just pull that off during transformation. I don't know. It can come on and off. And step 24 is a big one, as we can officially lay down into vehicle form. Nice and flat. I suppose while doing that step 24 lay down, you do want to lift up these Magnus back wheel walls. So all the wheels are laying flat now. And step 25, make sure the squirrel between the legs is removed and press legs together. Step 26, remove the squirrel on the back panel. If it has not done so already, lay flat this red piece here. It hinges down underneath. Sometimes it will go by itself when you fold down to the table. 27, rotate this central piece here up. And 28, fold down decorative belt piece. In step 29, it's always a challenge to break in knees, but we need to move in his back bed a little bit at those knee points. It can be really tight, but to start, bend at the knees. And you may actually want to break apart these back legs again, depending on how tight they are. But fold up at the knees, and then push on forward the back assembly over the hips. Definitely a tight challenge in lining them up, but once they are, in step 31 you can flip over these shin panels and they should fit. That was certainly a challenge, but onward to step 32 where we will rotate these arms at the pivot points up and around. Really tall dude. Ultra Magnus can be. And at these elbow points, in step 33 you'll want to tag in these clips to lock him down. Both sides. Step 34 involves a lot of clicking. We've got to rotate these arms down. Watch out, big gray squirrel. It helps to move squirrels out of the area. Rotate around both arms. Lots of ratcheting. 35, flip down these armbands. 36, head to the back, make sure these are flipped up. And 37, slide those forward. Fun times with step 38 as we rotate the full side arms on up now and into position up top, locking them into what we just slid over. And of course you'll want to do this with both sides, trying to avoid the giant squirrel inside, over the top, locking them in together, and then sandwiching these two pieces to lock in up front and in back. Now we're getting close. Step 39, fill in these open spaces on these top beams so that they are filled in nicely. And in step 40, if you don't want your squirrel flying out, flip up these side panels and then flip them over to the other side for more structure. Both sides, please. Step 42, make sure your back wheels are going to lie flat, so hinge them forward a little bit. And the final stage 43, make sure Magnus's head is folded nicely and tucked on under this red panel. I had it inside the cab on accident. I swung it back out. I think you could do either way. It looks better, obviously, to have it out. Hides Magnus's head, and then hitch up the team. We've completed transformation. Oh my, that was a bit of a challenge, I would say. It will probably be easier the second time. But there's certainly a few details in the cab to pay attention to, and locking that roof down, those knees, trying to fold them in just right, and a couple other small details were a bit of a challenge, but certainly a lot of fun. And I might add, this may be one of the better Autobot Transporter Ultra Magnuses I've seen. I think there's going to be plenty of room back there to load up. Before we do though, let's add back some accessories here. His iconic red missile launchers up on the sides. And we can place down blaster weapons over on these sides. Orient them either way you wish. And we're set to roll out, finally. Good scale with this vehicle form at about 12 inches in length and about 5 inches tall, almost 5 inches. Now I gotta find an Autobot to roll on in. We can pull down this back gate here. And who do I have for deluxe class Transformers that are in vehicle mode right now? I have a smoke screen here. Can't remember if this one is an 86 series. Roll him in. Making sure he continues forward. How many can I fit in here? There seems to be plenty of spots to rest wheels. I think this is a Siege sideswipe. Can we fit in two in the back? We sure can, so lift up the gate now. Back gate. Okay, oh, he's a little bit under. Smoke screen right there, a little bit of damage. Not so good on a Lamborghini. Ooh. Yeah, it's tight back there. As for the upper deck, oh, I was probably supposed to load the upper deck first. I think these arms kind of pivot down. You can unlock and pivot down. I'll just rock it up and send Blur up top. I think that is an 86 Blur. And I think this is a Titan's Return Cup. So there we go, loaded up with 4 deluxe class Transformers. It's always a little awkward, but in this case, working better than in previous times. It's always got to be so difficult in designing a truck bed that would hold a variety of styles of deluxe class Autobots. Some are gonna fit better than others, but for the most part, I got 4 loaded up pretty well. It's going to be a tough call on how I want to display this one. It's really fun to have Ultra Magnus with cars in bed, and it's an easy setup display with multiple Autobots inside there. Let's drop down the display box one more time there. He's not going to really fit on the display pad very well. It's going to be a tight fit there. The question is, will he fit the display stand? Oh, it's tight. So in vehicle mode, inside his shoebox, it's gonna be really tight. So it probably won't display like so. Definitely more so for robot on this display base. Whoa, cup! Although again, those aren't my biggest favorite thing. Most likely, I'm gonna want to be placing him in robot mode. Oh, it's too bad. I can't really get much motion with the cab. Maybe if I move these guys off the top deck, they're so gonna fall. They need seatbelts up there, Magnus. Checking out lower down here. There we go. Well, maybe with the smoke screen in the way, let's get these guys unloaded. Really fun to load them up though. Maybe I can leave smoke screen in the center. Really like the look of smoke screen inside with the deeper red and blues. Not much turning radius there. You can move the cab just a little bit off to the sides. It's gonna be tight, but I guess Everso is driving a vehicle transport unit. Lots to behold in vehicle mode from this one in every angle. It's easily my go-to Ultra Magnus now from now on. Great scale, great size. Likeliness spot on to the movie. Right there where I like to see my Transformers looking. Maybe slightly on the cartoony side, but still really good in detail. Uh-oh, the squirrels are back, ready to fill Ultra Magnus back up with their acorns. He's such a good acorn hauler. So I better end it there. What a set Ultra Magnus was to see. There we go with Ultra Magnus. I guess I'll just leave him in vehicle form right now, as the squirrels seem to have a lot of acorn haulage to do in the fall here, getting ready for winter. Enjoyed this one quite a bit. Transformers the movie, formers of the 86 line have been a lot of fun. I've picked up a few here and there, and I think Magnus is worth the pick. If you liked today's video, please give us a squawk, squirrelibe, squammet, your favorite Transformer of 86. Thanks so much for watching. Again, don't forget we have merch out there like a plush Landry and some t-shirts, water bottle, fun things like that. Again, thank you for watching. That's what I have to say about that.